Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a radius sanding block. We're going to start with just a thick piece of cardstock and this is just a paint stick. Any kind of thin scrap piece of wood will work just fine. Normally, I'd use a compass, but for the radius that I want, I don't have one that'll go that large. So I'm just going to draw an arbitrary line down the center of the stick. Then I'm just going to take a little razor knife and pick a point at one end, and I'm going to make a small hole there. I'm just going to make it so it'll go all the way through. Just barely pokes out the other side. Clean it up a little here. And I'm going to make sure that I can take a pencil and make a mark through it. And then I'm going to make a 7.5 inch radius. I'm going to center that right there in that hole. And I'm just going to mark where the other end is. Okay, now I'm just going to take a little razor knife, and I'm going to cut another little hole here so that we can get the pencil through there. I'm just going to I'm going to extend that line that I drew through the center all the way out to the ends. And then on this piece of cardstock, I'm just going to draw a straight line, and then I'm going to line up the line with the paint stick with the line on the cardstock. Now I'm going to use just a nail to hold the one end. And then I'm going to make sure that my pencil lead's long enough, and I'm going to draw this arc that will show us the 7.5 inch radius. And then I'm just going to take an X-Acto knife, any kind of razor knife, and just carefully cut it out along that line. Just be careful with it and make a couple of passes to get through. And you can see I've got a 7.5 inch radius. You can also do the same procedure. I'll show you I've made a 10 inch radius as well. Here's the 10 inch. And you can see it compared to the 7.5 inch. How you get a little sharper curve out of the 7.5. And now this, I'm just going to take a scrap piece of lumber. This is like a 1x2, maybe a 1x3. Just depends on how wide the block is that you're going to use. And I'm just going to find the center point on each end and draw a line through the center. And then I'm going to take that line and extend it down on each end. Just using a triangle here. And just draw that line perpendicular to the top. And do that on each end. And now I'm going to draw a line here a little less than the thickness of the wood. What I'm going to do is cut a little window out here so that we can line up the template with the line we just drew on the end of the block. This will make a lot more sense when you see it. So we've cut out a little window there. And now I'm going to line the top of the template up. And now you can see the little line going through at the bottom through the window. And then you just want to draw that curve there on the end of the block. And do this on both ends. And once you've done that, I'm just going to extend these little lines on the side on each end. And then I'm just going to connect those two dots and draw a line down the side of this block. Now I'm going to secure this to the table with a vise, and I'm going to just take a little hand plane, and I'm going to plane off that excess wood there. Just kind of plane it straight down to that line that we drew on the side. And now this may look a little backwards. This isn't the finished block. We're going to use this piece to make our radius block. Once you've got it planed, I'm going to take some 100 grit sandpaper and just smooth it all out. You want to make sure that it's pretty uniform down the length of the block. I'm going to move in a little closer here and let you show how we're following the curve of that radius. And then do the same thing on the other side. And now you may want to periodically check it. This is the piece that we cut off from the template, and just make sure that you are nice and uniform through the length of the board. Okay, now I want to take some 60 grit paper and just spray it with some spray adhesive. And then I'm just going to mount that on top of this block, on the curved part of this block. This is just going to hold it in place while we use it. And now I'm going to clamp this back into the vise. And now this, I've glued a couple of pieces of the 1x2 together. These are actually 1x3s. And now I'm going to just sand these down. Sort of cutting that curve into the top of the block. And now once you start getting toward the outside edges, notice how I'm kind of moving it up and down and side to side all at the same time. And then you can see how you've cut that curve out there. Again, take your template and just make sure that you've got it nice and uniform. Make sure it's uniform through the entire length. And that's your radius sanding block, 7.5 inches.